Okay, talk to you
Uh,
guys later.
okay, ma. And Pastor Sonny is on too.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, so I welcome everyone here today to the November series of the Alg Real Advocates dialogue. You're welcome. You're very much welcome. Your presence is very much appreciated. So we'll be starting with the national anthem.
Wait, oh. I'm trying to stream. Okay, is it streaming now? Yes, it's on streaming on YouTube. Okay.
Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land. Though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians old and proud to serve our sovereign fatherland. Our flag shall be a symbol that truth and justice reign. In peace or battle honored, and this we count as gain. To hang on to our children a banner without stain. O God of all creation, grant this our one request. Help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed, and so with peace and plenty, Nigeria may be blessed.
Nigeria will be blessed in the name of Jesus. Okay, so before we bring up our speaker, we like Pastor Sonny to give us a few words before we begin. Today's topic is about youth engagement and in participation, the importance of youth engagement, participation, empowerment, and development. So I would like to give Pastor Sonny the floor to just give us a brief note. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Joshua. And I want to welcome everyone that's on the platform so far. I want to especially greet Auntie MEC and Auntie Mommy, Professor Grinch. I was listening to your banters. I am praying for one day that I can stay in bed 20 hours of 24 hours and don't have to get up myself. You've paid your dues, so you can afford to stay as long as you like indoors now. Having said that, I want to say the topic that you have chosen for today about youth engagement in national development, very important, and it is a very good thing that will involve the youth in all that we are doing. I want to tell a little story, and I will be very brief. It's not as if, in Nigeria, we keep going round and round in circles. I was a young boy growing up in the state of Kaduna, where I was born, and naturally, we used to go and play ball, and I'm talking as young as from 7, 8, 9 years old. We had a field a school field, because those days the hallmark of primary school was sometimes we had double field. So we had primary school not too far from our house, and we used to go there and play. And um, an organization was formed around that play that we used to play, a structured organization. And I came in contact with YMCA for the first time in that place. And so they used to come and watch us play. There was a coach that used to come just to come and help organize us play. I later grew to understand what YMCA was all about. And YMCA was just Young Men Christian Association, and they were organizations specifically designed to encourage the youth to come up. And I traveled for the first time. I was 10 years. I traveled all the way from Kaduna by train to Ibadan. 10 years, me and one other guy, Sule Afegboa, I can't forget. We were identified among the children that were playing in that place, and they thought we had some qualities that they could enhance. And YMCA at that time was doing a youth conference in Ibadan, in a place called Erewa or so. I can't exactly remember. We traveled all the way from Kaduna. Two of us, we are just 10 years. We are put in a train. We were they gave us YMCA uniforms, t-shirts to wear. And they simply just told two elderly people on the train, watch these young boys. They are getting off in Ibadan. If we get to Ibadan, once we are wearing these t-shirts, people were there waiting for us. And that's how we went to Ibadan. And we spent 2 weeks in a YMCA camp. I learned how to make, for the first time, I have been using broom, basket, weaving. That place, they had a lot of this weaving, whatever they were doing there. And so I saw firsthand how they make brooms, baskets, and all those kinds of things. We were exposed to it. We met children from all over Nigeria, and we had a great time. Why am I saying this story? We had youth policies to involve youth in different things. We also had something called the young scientists. We were encouraged to do stuff with our hand. The young scientists, we combine things, like we combine batteries and create touch and create lights and all those things. And sometimes private organizations promoted this initiative, sometimes government. But somehow, like everything that has happened to Nigeria, and we also had the youth sports, the youth academicals. We used to have primary school sports, secondary school sports, from a very young age, you could identify children that were talented, whether they wanted to go into academics, arts and craft, and all those things. The reason I'm giving this background is when we look at youth involvement in national development, sometimes we tend to look at it from the top. But there must be a structured policy and for everyone to get involved. So when we are looking at youth involvement in national development, we should remember that we once had policies, well, not necessarily policies, but there were structures and organizations that encourage youth to get involved. And so for me, that exposure for the first time opened my eyes. I mean, traveling by train, I had never traveled up until that time. I was just growing up in my city. That was all I was growing up in. But going there to meet children from all places, it really exposed me and the kind of thing that we should be encouraging. There are different areas where we can encourage youth involvement, but our prayer is, how do we get it to really work without the necessary government bureaucracy that sometimes clog the wheel of what we are doing, whether it is sports, whether it is arts and crafts, whether it is science, whether it is getting our children involved in leadership. And that's what we are trying to achieve through what we are doing here on the ALG Youth Wing. And I really want to commend the drivers of the Youth Wing here. So while we are looking at imbibing the kind of leadership that we want in terms of getting you to get involved, whether it is entrepreneurship, whether it is education, leadership and governance, technology, which is a major thing now. We should all get involved. Don't sit back. We will continue to provide our support and all that we can give to encourage the youth to take their rightful place in the governance and development of this country. Thank you for everyone that has joined today and those that will be watching later on the various platforms that this may be posted onto. I look forward to listening to the guest speaker, who himself is a youth, and I'm sure we are going to get some very valuable points from him. Thank you. I hand over back to you, Joshua. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, for that. Really appreciate your presence and for speaking to us this blessed day. So before we move to our speaker, I'll be handing over to Adebanke to take us through, just give us a citation of the speaker and what our speaker is all about and what we should expect. Over to you, Adebanke. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, and we appreciate you for being here today with me. Can you all hear me?
Hello,
Can you all hear
Adebanke.
me?
We can't hear you.
Okay. We appreciate you for being here today. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, I think our guest is having issue with his network. So I don't know if I should just go ahead to take his citation while we wait for him. We've been trying to contact him. So he's been here before, but then I think he had issue with his network. So he exited the room. Joshua, should we just go ahead taking the program or what?
Go ahead with the citation. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. Please a minute. Okay, sorry. Okay. Abimbola Samuel Oladimeji was born on the 29th May 1984 into the family of Mrs. Victoria Oluwayemisi late and Chief title was Aremu Oladimeji of Aliko compound in Ilole quarters of Ile-Ife. He had his elementary education at the Apostolic Primary School, Okesoda, before proceeding to Faith Standard Nursery and Primary School, Moremi, Ile-Ife, after which he sat for the Common Entrance Examination at Salvation Army Primary School, Okiaton, in 1995. Abimbola joined St. John's Grammar School, Okiaton, Ile-Ife in 1995, where he completed his junior secondary program and sat for West Africa Examination Council as Ife Anglican Grammar School, Arubidi, Ile-Ife in the year 2001. He was admitted to Federal Polytechnic Ado-Ekiti in the year 2002 and was again admitted to Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife the following year. Abimbola earned a Bachelor of Science in Sociology and Anthropology, a Master in Industrial and Labor Relations, and a Master of Public Administration at the Great Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife in 2009, 2016, and 2019, respectively. He served his country, Nigeria, through the National Youth Service Corps program at Macmillan Nigerian Publishers Limited, Ilupeju, Lagos in 2009, and was offered employment as a sales representative posted to Osun State in 2012. He later joined Upper Spring Hotels and Resorts, Iwaraja, in 2016, and rose to become a manager in 2017. He was appointed by the Office of the Vice President of Nigeria as an independent monitor under the National Social Investment Program, NSIP, to cover Ife East local government in 2018. He was offered full and pensionable employment with the Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment as a senior labor officer in 2018 and posted to Osun State Office, where he currently works as a level 12 principal labor officer. Among other numerous involvement and engagement in extra activities, Abimbola Oladimeji was the National Public Relations Officer of the National Ife Descendant Student Association in 2005, the chapter president of the National Association of Osun State Students, OAU chapter, in 2006, the national president of the National Ife Descendant Student Association in 2007 and 2008. The state coordinator of Lagos State Dance and Drama CDS Group in 2011. He is a grade 1 referee and the current Assistant General Secretary of the Nigerian Referee Association, Osun State Council from Ife Society. He is a pioneer president of Ife Youth Organization. Abimbola Oladimeji, popularly called Computer, enjoys volunteering and community services, which include but are not limited to initiating Ife COVID-19 response team in 2020. He is married to Aderonke Olubumi and blessed with 3 children. Thank you, everyone. Joshua, over to you now.
Thank you, Adebanke. I will just be going straight to welcome our speaker, Mr. Abimbola. It is so great to have someone who has so much experience across board when dealing with youth. So we are honored to have you here. Please, you have the floor for your
I'm
presentation.
not
Thank
sure
you.
he's back. I'm not sure he's back.
Okay. Okay, so before he joins in, I'll just be giving a brief overview of what he's going to discuss with us today. So Mr. Oladimeji Abimbola is ready to give us the youth in various perspectives as regards development, Nigeria development, talking about the participation and engagement, and also the importance of youth empowerment in Nigeria's development. So if when it comes back to the core, he'll be going into more details as to, okay, I think he's on with us now. So Mr. Oladimeji Bimbola, please, you can proceed with your presentation. Thank you very much. You're muted if you're speaking.
What name is he so we can make him co-host? Is he the user?
Yes, he's the user.
Okay. So we'll rename you. So that's the Oladimeji. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get a location where my network will be that good because this area, I don't know what's happening today. The network is bad, but I hope that I'll be able to get through as expected. I want to appreciate God for this privilege to speak before that is a moment and my fellow youth on this topic. I want to appreciate the chance, given to me to discuss. So I would like to share the screen now, the slide. So I hope I'm able to get that done. Few minutes, please, a few seconds.
And you may also want to turn off your video so that you have more bandwidth.
All right, I was speaking on so am I back online?
Yes,
I'm
but
sorry.
it's better for you to turn off your video so that you don't lose more bandwidth. You may want to
Mr.
turn off your video.
do you mind me sharing the slide from my end? My network seems to be
Okay, if you can do that, I'll appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, let me just do that.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. I'll be speaking on the youth in Nigeria's development. What is the importance of youth engagement, participation, empowerment towards developing our country? So the overview, we'll be looking at the youth in various perspectives. What are the different definitions of youth? Who are actually youth in Nigeria and other places in the world? We'll be looking at their development,
Then also we look at Nigerian development. We're going to look at Nigerian youth. Also, the participation and engagement of youth in Nigeria development strive. We are going to be looking at youth empowerment and Nigeria experience, our experience as regards to what is called youth empowerment in our cycle here. So we'll also be looking at the importance of youth empowerment in Nigeria development. So these are the overview, everything we'll be talking about today. So when we talk about youth, generally, we have different definitions of, or let me say, different categories of youth. There is no an acceptable, agreeable definition of the age range of youth. Why the UNESCO agree that it is the age between 15 and 24. They equally give members nations a chance of determining who falls within this age group. So like the Commonwealth defines youth as people with, children within the age of 15 and 29. The African Youth Charter has defined theirs as any individual between 15 and 35. In the Nigerian sector, we have our own to be between 18 and 35. However, we have had somebody like 65 years old claiming to be youth president of one organization or the other. That is just by the way. But youth is best understood as a period of transition from the dependence of a childhood to adulthood independence and awareness of our interdependence as a member of a community. Youth is a more fluid category than a fixed age group. So when we're talking about youth now, you can actually say between social age and age. It's actually when a child is moving from childhood and to become an adult. The various definition of youth can be problematic when designing youth programs. There is no standard global definition. Africa and the global South have long insisted that youth is not a range of ages, but defined by diversity of cultural defined social processes that mark the transition from child to adulthood. In some instances, you may see 18, 25 to be called youth, and in other climes, you see people like 40 years of age to become youth. So it varies. And we must understand what is who can be referred to as a youth in our society before we implement or design programs for them. Otherwise, you'll be designing a program for somebody with as old as 40 years, and you're also you are giving room for 18-year-old lady or boy to participate. It's not going to work because of that disparity in age. So that is that for now, but let's talk about development. Development is the act of improving by expanding, enlarging, or refining. It is the process in which someone or something grows or changes and becomes more advanced. So development has to do with change, positive change. And development is a positive change in quality. Development means a qualitative change that is always value positive. So you can't talk about stagnancy and talk about development. You can't talk about development without talking about values that are changed from how we are doing it before, how we are now. Yes, in this time, we'll be talking about Nigeria development. Are we actually developing from this kind of definition we have given? Is there any value added to our previous experience and what we are doing currently in terms of youth participation? It then means that development cannot take place unless there is an increment or addition to the existing condition. If what we have been doing the last 20 years is the same thing we are doing now, and we are saying that is development. The same 20 hours you will spend between Ibadan to Lagos is the same 20 hours you will spend this time again. Last 20 years, the same thing, this year, the same thing. That is not development. If you are talking about youth unemployment, the percentage is still there. And we are talking about development. Are we actually developing? So there must be an addition to the existing conditions. The NEPA, every other thing that we're talking about, the power supplies, and do we have any change in that? So the question I'm putting to us, can we really say Nigeria is developing? Not to talk of saying Nigeria has developed. There's this book, How the Western Country Underdeveloped Africa. You see, if you go through this book, you understand the concept of developing, and underdeveloped. But that's not what we are going to now. In the Nigerian perspective, can we say Nigeria is developing? Look at the poverty rate. Nigeria is projected to have the highest number of poor people in the world by 2050, following the current trend we are passing through. Is that development? Poverty rate in the north of the country are significantly higher than the national average. Talk about corruption. Somebody once said that stealing is not corruption. Then what is corruption? Corruption is a major obstacle to development in Nigeria. The public health and the education sectors are plagued with mismanagement, corruptions, and inadequate funding. Infrastructure. Last week or last month, the national grid collapsed for 3 consecutive times within the space of 48 hours. And since 1999, I have been experiencing democracy. We have put more money in this power sector, yet have there been any change in that aspect? So the country also experienced frequent power supply difficulties despite having some of the world's largest oil, gas, and coal deposits. In terms of economic diversification, we still rely heavily on oil. Can we say that is development? So the question I'm putting to us is, can we actually say that Nigeria is developing? Because until we understand that concept, then we can talk about what is the importance or relevance of youth in Nigeria development. You look at tax revenue, you look at human development. Today, Nigeria is ranked 161 out of 103 countries on the Human Development Index. Security, we all know what is happening in the country now. You can't move from one place to another with arrest of mind. And Buhari regime, Jonathan regime, it became, it continues like that. See, every yesterday is becoming better than even the present days we are talking about. Social conflicts, you see them. We have more and more indices to examine in relation to our development. We still queue for fuel, we still see a lot of things. So we can't actually say that Nigeria is developing. But however, we cannot also say that where we were in the last 10 years is where we are today. There has been couples of changes. But if you look at the percentage now, or let me say in a broader context, can we actually say this actually measure to the expected development we're talking about? Coming to Nigerian youth now, the Nigerian youth are characterized as being ambitious, enthusiastic, energetic, and promising throughout countries of the world. We see the various impact our youth are making in different fields and in different countries. Today, Nigeria is one of the, if not the highest. We are the highest exporter of youth throughout the whole world. Everybody today want to japa because of what? Of what we are talking about. So the fact that Nigerian youth are lazy is not even what we should be looking at now. If we are lazy, then we are not going to be marketable in other climes of the world. What are the things now affecting productivity of youth or contribution of youth to Nigerian development? However, because of the considered vulnerability of youth in society, as a result of the rapid pace of change we experience at this time of our lives, we are impatient to see desired development manifesting. Today, everybody want to get things done very fast. You don't want, you see, you have fast food, you have fast lane, everything is on the quick. Even the way we make money. Some years back, you see, we have to be patient. People don't want to be patient again now because of this age. This is the time we are actually eager to get things done almost immediately. Why the developed countries see and maximize this potential? Nigerian government continues to toil with the future of the nation and allow the nation builders exit the country for obvious reasons they must leave. We have so many, everybody has reasons to leave this country. Talk about the change rate, everything, but we cannot all leave this country. If we all leave, who will stay behind? Yes, it's alarming. Most of our best brains are leaving the country. They are just finding a green pasture. Prominent among the structural violence pushing Nigerian youth away from the country is unemployment. Nigerian youth are increasingly becoming restless because of unemployment. You can see that in Gotham 2018 work. Nigeria has a youthful population of about 80 million, which is about 60% of our population. It is exactly to know that 70% of this population are unemployed. When we say unemployed, does not really mean that they don't have job. We're talking about decent work and gainful employment. Somebody who is working in the private firm, getting about 200,000 naira per month, we still want to leave that private firm to go to public firm because of job insecurity. So when there is no gainful, decent employment, you see labor turnover from one point over time and over time. So after obtaining relevant work experience and other qualification necessary for the job, they still move to other place. Let's go to the major discussion for today. Importance of youth engagement, participation, and empowerment. In preventing the Japa syndrome, the need for youth engagement, participation, and empowerment cannot be underestimated in the country's serious drive for development. If Nigeria is actually serious in developing, you can't put the development of a nation in the hands of the olds, in the hands of the 70s, 80s. You must allow youth to participate. You must engage youth. You must empower them. You must strengthen them. And you must allow them to use the current trending technologies to drive the economy. Yes, when we go for that, you understand what I mean by this. Go to the civil service and public service. We are still following the same order of 1980, 1970. Because the leaders there, they don't know how to operate computer, and they're going to frustrate the system, that you're not going to do anything except you follow their ways. So if you want this development to actually come into play, you must allow the youth to actually be involved, be engaged, participate, and be empowered to carry out some things. We must go beyond participation. We must deeply be involved. We must be engaged. You see, most times they allow the youth to participate. They want to do program, NSIP program, Empower program, you are participating. But are the youth actually engaged? Because when you engage the youth, you are giving them more room to be more involved. You are giving them the opportunity to determine how and when the program should be. But when it is people who just sit down somewhere, design a program, meal, cash, conditional cash transfer, SWOP, all those things, this program will not be sustainable because those that will drive it are not considered in the planning of that program. Engagement is more active and intentional process than participation, and it will have a greater impact if youth are allowed to be engaged in policies, in programs, in plannings, and other rest. So engagement involves a sense of investment and purpose, and it includes feeling like you are part of something. So it goes beyond, we are going to do engagement, we are going to do empowerment tomorrow. All youths come together and they come and you give them. In fact, we have seen cases in Nigeria where people are empowered by giving them, what is called, iron pots. They give them cassava stem. They give them this one of things. And it's actually, all these things given, they what are needed by these youth in this current age. Imagine you are organizing a training where they're still using this old archaic machine to sew cloth, and you want this current youth to be there. They will not, because they are not involved. And because that's the way they did in the last 20 years, you are still bringing it to this time. As it was in the beginning, it's now, and forever shall it be. It's not going to work. It's not going to allow development to thrive. So youth must go beyond participation. We must be engaged so that we can also contribute from the onset, from the design stage, not until when you have planned it and you are saying, come on, take what we have given to you. It's not going to work. So participation is good, but engagement is more key. So engaging youth in which area? In policy formulation. Most of the policy, Nigeria, we are so blessed. We have a lot of beautiful, good policies. Yes. But because of the fact that right from the formulation process, we have gotten things wrong. Let me give an instance. Nigeria has there was a policy on national social and insurance scheme NSIP, which I monitored some years back. This program, as good as this program was, we want to give household that are the poorest of the poor household some money, 10,000 naira. I tell you, those that will give out this money are even poor. Somebody who has not eaten the money and you're giving that person cash to go and give to some persons who also are poor. Tell me, even if you are, I don't know how strong you be, not to also corner some of this money from your hand. So in terms of policy formulation, youth must be engaged. Youth must be involved in formulating policies for the development, because we are the carrier of that formulation. We are the one that we implement. We are the one that we are the one having the energy to ensure that these policies are implemented and sustained and can drive the economy. Also, in the area of policy implementation, you have a beautiful policy. How do we implement it? You know, even engage the youth. What we do most time, somebody from the north, somebody from the south, we just pick his brother. You are the minister, or you are the clinical, or you are the coordinator of so things. And that person also bring his own friends, bring his own relatives. And we all know what happened recently when you see snake swallowing money, when you see money just getting away without any reason for that. So in implementing policies, youth must also be involved, must also be engaged. And when I say youth, yes, we have youth across board, but I mean youth that are visionary, who knows what they're actually doing. So the Nigerian Civil and Public Service, where I belong to, you have to just, in Nigeria today, we are still carrying fine. You see, if you want to do something from Osogbo in Abuja, you transport your paper from Osogbo to Abuja. Something you can just press on a button and send it. But because somebody is there in Abuja, who is the PAMSEC, who is the director, who cannot operate system, and will frustrate you to the extent that you will not be allowed to use that system, and you have to follow the archaic process. So that's civil service, because they are the engine room that will bring all these policies that you have formulated into fruition. These youth must be allowed to do it, because recent exam conducted for power sector, many of them failed because they could not even use a common Microsoft Word, not talk of using Excel. And that's why you see one of the programs of federal government delaying in implementation, because it will take donkey years before they carry paper from Asokoro to area, this to that. So, and it's not going to work. You have to allow the youth to come into play and get this thing done. Bureaucratic bottlenecks. I tell you today, if you want to do anything in Nigeria, there are a lot of bureaucracy, and these bureaucracy are not done to ensure efficiency. They are deliberately created to frustrate common man, to frustrate the youth, to frustrate us from even getting further. It is not because they want it to be done based on efficiency. No, because when you are frustrated, you now pay more. You pay, they ask you to, let me tell you, as bad as it is today, even if you write an exam as a youth in Nigerian civil service today, if you write an exam and you passed, you still have to bribe somebody to make sure that your promotion is effected and you are paid for that. Why should that be? Exams should be done online. You are passed. There should be an automated structure that will just pass you over because you are passed, and that's all. And because the youth nowadays, we are so impatient. We want to get this done fast. And if it's not happening in Nigeria, I'll find a next place to go, either UK, America, anywhere that allows me to allow passage. I'll go there. And by so doing, we are losing our best brain. I was one of these hospitals these days. We went for an inspection and we had conducted there. About 3 doctors, professors, were talking to us. He said that in the hospital they work, that out of 98 doctor consultants, that about 62 of them are no more in the country. And these are, what are we now talking about? So all these bottlenecks of you must carry this, you must do this, you must do that, must be jettisoned so that youth can be allowed to try. What is youth empowerment now? That is the area of my concern. If you call anybody on the street now and say, what is empowerment? In my hometown, in my home state, they will tell you that money is empowerment. So if you don't give out money, you're not empowering us. And in the real sense, empowerment is not all about money. You see politicians, government, they will buy motorcycle, Okada, they will buy hair dryers, iron pots, wheelbarrows, cassava stems, and you will say that is empowerment. That is not. Let me give a typical example. Recently, I think early this year, a program was done in my community, and they invited some youth to come and, I think it's a 3 days program, learning programs. They will talk about solar, carpentry, like that. And I tell you, the 3rd day, when they were to graduate, all the materials given to these youths to go and practice what they have learned, at that spot, they were selling it, looking for marketers, buyers. Say, come and buy this one, this, and we are negotiating it. So what are we now saying? So whatever you buy Okada for somebody, that person sells the Okada again to the next person, and that. Is that empowerment? It is not. Even the skill acquisition training, can you learn carpentry for 3 days? Can you learn solar, what have you, for 3 days? But Nigerian government, they will just bring up that program just because it must be seen to be doing empowerment. Is that really empowerment? To be empowered means to have the knowledge, to have the confidence, to have the means, and to have the ability to do things or make decisions independently. So that is what means empowerment. If you are giving 10 million today, if you don't have the confidence on the 10 million given to you, you squander it. If you don't have the ability to turn that 10 million naira into 20 million naira, it will soon finish. So it is not about giving money, it's not about giving a motorcycle. It's about allowing people to have that knowledge, the confidence about the knowledge they have, give them the means and the ability to do things on their own. Not that you sit down somewhere in Abuja, plan a program, and begin to execute it even right from Abuja. It's not going to work. And that's the empowerment we talk about in this area. And it goes beyond that. So, next slide, please. Empowerment involves enablement to own and hold up to political and economic power. You are empowering youth. You are not allowing them to participate in decisions. You are empowering youth. You are not allowing them to be engaged in economic policy. What kind of empowerment is that? Let me ask. In the current administration of President Bola Tinubu, how many youths can we say are in conspicuous offices that can drive the economy? It is still recycling of the old cargo, bringing back the former governor, a former Senate president, a former this, a former that, and they are cake, and they cannot go beyond what they know. So when we talk about empowerment, we're talking about allowing youth to be politically involved in determining the economic direction of the nation. Don't just give them money. Don't just do that. Allow them to be involved. Give them political power. Give them economic power. If you don't steal today in Nigeria, if you are between age of 18 and 20, let's say 20, 30, 39, and you are not stealing, you have your means of survival legitimately, you can't contest for a common councillor and win. But if you have stolen or your father has some big money, yes, you can contest for governor. And now you see many of them, they appoint this. Currently, one of the newly elected governor, sworn in the son of a former governor to become a commissioner of, because we are recycling, and they will have said they empower youth. Well, other than giving all manner of things as empowerment packages, youth must be allowed to participate and be engaged fully on the process and formulation of programs aimed and designed for the youth. If you want youth to be empowered, really, you must allow them to be part of that process. You must stop giving them peanuts in the name of empowerment. You must stop giving them co-pot or what have you, in the name of empowerment. You must allow them to even determine what they need. What kind of training should we give to you people? What kind of, where is the country driving towards? It's unfortunate that, so for us to have development in this country, we must allow youth to be participating, to be engaged in policies that will drive economic sustainability, that will drive economy of the nation. There are other factors that are mitigation against sustainable youth empowerment program in Nigeria. Number one of them is other is limited access to quality education. Most of our teachings today in university are still the orthodox training. You still have to go to what concerns me. I want to study law. You're asking me the YDS. What is the meaning of the YDS in law? Tomorrow, I want to become an engineer. You're asking me to go and one borrow course, one clinical. Our curriculum has to be tailored towards specific goal, and you must allow youth to access that quality education, not the education that will be fluctuating. Today strike, tomorrow non-strike, and these days there's been a wide gap between the have and the have not, and it has made education to actually, it has bastardized our education line. So if you want the Nigerian to develop, you must allow youth to have access to quality education. Education must be properly funded. It must not be. I'm sorry to say this. I don't want to go into party discussions as such, but let us look at how much was given to student loan, how much is budgeted for Lagos Calabar Rail. So the priority of this country is not on education, and that's why we're getting it wrong. And if you want to get a better country, invest in your youth. How do you invest in them? Give them access to quality education. Number two is limited access to financial resources. Except you come from a rich home, how many of us can take and contest for House of Assembly, House of Rep? It is because you don't have the financial resources to do that. You don't even have access to loan. As a youth, no matter how good your idea is, if you go to bank today to take loan, you're on yourself. In fact, it's not even advisable you take bank loan to start up a business in Nigeria. Otherwise, because the policy is not even stable. Today, exchange rate is this. Tomorrow, loan. In fact, I have a cost to borrow money sometimes ago in bank using my salary account, and within the space of repayment of 2 years, they have increased interest rate 5 different times. They have increased interest rate 5 different times. So if you're into business and you're going to you have taken such loan, how will you sustain that? Number 3 is inadequate skills development. Skills development, our skills is still how to sew shoe, how to do this, how to do that. They are archaic. In fact, these days, you don't need some of those old techniques now. You need new techniques to get some of these things done. So it must be updated as well. We must allow our youth to develop, to have adequate skills development. Number 4, high unemployment rate. I've said that earlier. Unemployment rate is a ban among us. Number 5, which is also key, nepotism and tribalism. Yes, people may come with the argument that, okay, there are some youth in government, there are some youth in social place. The question is, how did you arrive at those youth coming to government? Because of Nigeria now, to get to anywhere, it is not about what you know. It's about who you know. And that's not the kind of youth participation we're talking about. We are talking about a system that will allow the best to come and represent youth. That will allow the best to come and speak for the youth. Not a system that will allow for my brothers, somebody is from the northeast, we have not got somebody from the south. No. In fact, at this age of development, we should have decisioned the issue of federal character. What's the meaning of federal character? Let the best come into play. Let the best handle things. That is when you can talk about development. The last one, corruption. Well, I'm not going to dwell on that because we all know corruption is everywhere. Everywhere, even in the home, we have corruption. God will help us to fight corruption to the end. What is not the importance of youth empowerment in Nigeria development? If you allow the youth to participate, to be engaged in development drive and programs, one, you're going to have economic growth because you're going to have more of our active population involved in business and transactions. And this is what actually in turn affect or influence our economic growth. So if you are making if you're making the policy centering around those that already have money, then there's no way we're going to. So if you allow youth, you will diversify and you allow youth to involve in all in policies and other things, we are going to definitely enjoy economic growth. And once economic growth is solved in this country, we are almost there. 2, we are going to have reduction in unemployment. Of course, when you allow that, people that are not employed, they get employed. We have more of them getting employed, and thereby you also have job creations because you have youth getting more employed. Then you're going to have more job creations, and you're going to have more youth engaged. So Next slide, please. Also, we're going to have increased productivity and competitiveness. Let me talk about this competitiveness. Most of Nigerian business today is still in the hands of the olds. I mean, 55, 60, 70 upward. Because they are the ones that have access to that resources to make things up. Let me give you, during this period now, it is a known fact that when you are getting to December period, price of things will go high, And those people, the elderly ones who control the means of production, will use their power to stock and to make sure that they stock some of these items that are essential for us and becomes very, very, very scarce to get. But when you allow the youth to get there to run this thing, there will be competition and you're going to have increased productivity. The last one is educational advancement. When you allow youth to be involved, to be engaged, definitely you're going to have advancement in our educational sector. The idea, I still don't believe that we have a professor today in Nigeria who cannot use a common PowerPoint, who cannot use an Excel. In fact, if you get some of the institutions, they give some of their work, their papers they say they are writing, they give it to some of these youth to write for them because they are still not, they don't know about, they don't know how to go about this, this technology. So if you actually mean business for Nigeria to develop, you must not only allow you to participate, you must allow them to be engaged, you must empower them. In conclusion, from all indications, Nigeria has become a den of lions. The creation of structural violence by the leaders is forcing young Nigerians to exit from the country. Like the famous philosopher, man is born free, but is everywhere in chains. Nigerians have woke up to the reality that we are actually living in bondage. We appear to be chained in every aspect of our lives. The only means of escape Nigeria I've discovered is to travel and settle abroad, to search for peace, eluding the whole system, like I've said earlier. Next slide. Next slide, please. So, like I've said, we cannot allow our youth to. Okay, thank you. Please, the previous slide before this one. Okay, thank you. The major, if not the only solution to the unfortunate situation we find ourselves in this country, is for the older generation to accept the fact that they have failed us, and they must allow for fresh ideas with renewed strength. We must, the elders must know that they have failed this country. For how many years? The youth are the future of tomorrow, they are the future generation. No, it is not about future. The future is now. They must just step aside and allow the youth to run the economy. Let us show them we can do it more, we can do it better. So the youth must also take into their hands their future. And Sean Peanut Empowerment aim to perpetually keep us dependent and remain appendage. Appendage in the sense that something you can just do away with when you don't need them anymore. Many of Nigerian youth today, you still see them saying Babaka, Tuale, all those kind of things, because that is where they get their ends meet. And one of the bourgeoisie is to keep the masses perpetually poor, so that when they see something, for instance, let me give you an instance. A government will dualize road, or will give us a road of 1 kilometer, and the youth will start shouting, governor, thank you, thank you. It has become so pathetic that we even celebrate what normally should be the function of the government. So the youth, I'm calling upon us now. If you are waiting for them to give it to you, they may not give it to us. We must stand up in a peaceful manner. We must stand up in a conscious manner and and be involved and be engaged and take the future into our hands, instead of getting honestly peanut as empowerment, so to say. So yes, the character issues or the need for attitudinal change among the youth is only a point of concern. I agree with a school of thought that says some of our youth too, who have been tested before, they have failed us. That one fail does not mean all of us have failed. So that is not a topic for now. There are some of our youth too who have been in power, who we can actually be bold or to say this is what they have done or what they have actually brought forward. But that's not the topic for today. So I want to thank you for listening to this presentation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Oladimiji. You really opened my eyes to a lot of things. And also, while you were talking, I was going through some numbers that you ran earlier about the, if you're talking about 80 million, because I'm someone that do numbers a lot. 80 million people, 80 million youths in Nigeria right now, and you are saying 56 million of them don't have gainful employment. And when you look at the trend of our population, it is projected by 2050, Nigeria is going to be about 400 million people. And if we are going to say, okay, 60% are youth, that's 240 million people. With the employment rate now, if we don't address the issue, it's going to be going to almost 170 million youth that are gainfully unemployed. So if you look at all these numbers and we are just looking at how can we solve this? If you look at the mantra of the current administration, renewed hope. When I see this renewed hope, I laugh because when you are saying renewed hope and you are surrounding yourselves with the same minds, the same age, but you're not involving the youth. Because if you look at America right now, they just elected President Trump again. If you look at his cabinet pick so far, someone like Vivek Ramaswamy is 39 years old. If you look at someone like, I'm not talking, let's not go into, okay, there are controversies around them, but okay, if you look at the people he wants to surround himself with, he's not just surrounding people of the same age. He's looking for fresh new ideas. If you look at Vivek Ramaswamy, that is 39 years old. You look at Peter that is looking to run the Department of Defense for America. He's just 44 years and he's going to be overseeing over 3 million employees in the Department of Defense. 44 years old man. Look at Tulsi Gabbard that is supposed to run the Department of Intelligence. She's just 40, I think 40 or 39 or 40 something years old as well. So look at all these people. Look at Braden Carr to run the communications. He's just 45 years and he has been running it for 7 years when he was 38. If you look at all these things, we can just try to emulate this the way these developed countries, that's why they are developed countries. They're not running, they're not, because they say when you are doing the same thing and you are doing the same thing and expecting different results, that's what is called insanity. So we need to bring back this sane mentality back into our system. So before I take questions and contributions, I would like our mommy that has always been how will I say it's encouraging us and just supporting us, always coming to our programs in Auntie Yemisi and Professor Grange to but let's start with Auntie Yemisi first, so she can give us just a brief of what has been discussed and our own opinion on the issue. Thank you very much, ma.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for consistently providing this platform for an engagement and understanding of the national issues that bedeck the nations. I was taking a few notes. Thank you so much, Mr. Abayami, for your presentation. I agree with a whole lot of what you have said, but let me just address one or two points. I will start with the comment you made, Joshua, about Tinubu's cabinet. I believe he probably has one of the youngest cabinet that we have had over time. I know when he was campaigning, he had a lot of meetings with youth groups to capture their ideas. That's why someone like what's his name, Bosun Tijani is in charge of the digital economy. You have Oni in the internal affairs. There are quite a few young people, but the youth ministry that he actually created, I don't see that that youth ministry has been able to do much. Maybe that's why you guys are complaining. So your complaints should really be addressed to the people that have been put there as people of your age group to represent you and not to the president directly. I think he has tried to do quite a bit to involve young people in the development of Nigeria. And also, I think we need to do more at engaging at the local levels, at the state level. It's not the federal government that's going to solve our problems. It's the state and local governments. How many young people are ready to engage at that level? How many young people want to become local government chairmen, councillors? At that foundational level, where you will have a lot more power, a lot more opportunities to engage with the people and have an inclusive process of development at that level. Now, Mr. Abayomi, please don't be worried about Japa. They're still Japaing in Britain and America. People have freedom to Japa. It can only, at the end of the day, be useful to the country in the long run. People migrated to Australia. Much of the people that built Australia were migrants from Europe and America. So don't worry too much about that. Migration is useful tool of spreading tools, spreading resources, spreading information, and building capacity that can later be used for national development. And you quite rightly said that, okay, a lot of the training that's being undertaken by government is not quite what you think it should be. I agree with you, but I think young people should also realize that all the training is to make you more responsible for national development, taking leadership and all that cannot be realized unless you guys are also responsible. You are able to respond to opportunities. Opportunities are all over the place. I mean, much more than when we were growing up. But a lot of young people don't seem to have the capacity to grab those opportunities. And therefore, you have youth feeling disgruntled because somebody's not employing them. And you have quite rightly said that this generation should not be looking for employment. They should be training themselves to be employers. That is the future. Even in other parts of the world that has more advanced than ours, government is not going to be able to give the youths in the numbers that you are now the jobs that you need. So you have to begin to look at how you train yourself to be employers of labor yourself. And then the spirit of volunteerism has to come back to the way you guys think, because a lot of the young people, like the LIC that we work with, it's run by young people and they're all volunteers. If you want a salary, go and do something else. So young people have to be ready to devote their time and energy to development without always looking for some returns that is monetary or an incentive. It's your responsibility. It's your country to develop. If you don't develop it, who's going to develop it for you? And you kept saying the old people who, let me tell you, the older generation did their bit when they had the opportunity. The old people, based on the information and the capacity they had at the time, rightly or wrongly, whether they did it rightly or correctly or wrongly, that is how far they could do it. That is the level at which they are at. So young people have to say, right, okay, they've done their bit. Allowing youth is not a word that should come into your lexicon. You have to take charge. You have to stand up and take charge. And that is the same thing all over the world. As you said, a 79 and almost 80-year-old is ruling America. So it's not a Nigerian problem. It is up to young people to take charge. Stepping aside is not going to happen. These old people are not stepping aside for you. I'm sorry to say. They have, acquired so many other responsibilities, acquired many wives and children and all that. So until they die, probably they're going to be struggling for this power. So you young people have to really find a way. And it doesn't happen anywhere. Nobody steps aside for anybody. You are the ones that have to organize yourselves to take charge. You have to, join political parties en masse so that within those political parties, you are able to struggle to, take and compete to take charge of the machinery of those parties. Even when you had your own party, YPP, what happened? You are kind of almost disappeared. So the energy must come from you. The engagement must come from you. You're asking these people to engage with you. There are various platforms for engaging. You guys engage on social media and stuff like that. But most seriously, you have to organize to profile alternative policies. Don't wait for them to call you to a round table. If government says, look at the present government's manifesto, they have all kinds of stuff in there, what they want to do. A group of you who are the critical thinkers should be able to take each of those items and say, right, as young people, this is how we think you should do it. So when they bring out their policy, you're also bringing up alternative agendas and policy positions and options so that they cannot say, oh, they didn't know this is what you wanted. And until you have a round table, we won't know what you want. So please also be more engaged yourself, organizing yourself better, providing platforms to engage with yourselves, and calling these people to come and account to you. Have your town hall meetings, have your youth engagement. I mean, in the Lagos state, there are all kinds of youth organizations. In Lagos Island, the youth are organizing themselves. Unfortunately, you too have to guard against political influence, because often when you organize yourself, the politicians are very smart. They're going to be looking for the leaders and those who are a little bit talented amongst you to bring into their fold. So you have to have the discipline. You have to have the ethical, boundaries and moral muscle to resist such temptation. So as you are organizing, you are also creating an alternative so that when these people either, because they're too old or something happens to them, you are ready and able to step into that space. You talked about cash for the poor. I have been talking to Mr. Wale Edun and Yemi Cardoso about all these palliatives they're giving. Nobody should be giving cash to anybody. You put in other places where there are palliatives or welfare services for the poor, they put the money into their accounts, open e-wallets for them. So those are the kind of ideas I want you guys to also be, proposing, that no, you don't want people lining up and taking Gary and palm oil. You want people to have bank accounts. It will also reflate the economy, because whatever money is going through the banking system, it's easier to trace. It's more accountable. So let's begin to do, you begin to propose that. And finally, you talked about empowerment. Now, a lot of the empowerment that is needed is already out there. You go on YouTube, you can learn anything, furniture, jewelry, whatever it is. We didn't have that opportunity when we were growing up. So the information is out there. You need to use your critical thinking skills to grab what is useful, what is productive, because at the end of the day, what we need in our country is not people who can talk plenty grammar. We need people who can produce. Pastor Sonny was just telling us about when he was young, visiting the north where they're making cane and all of that. There's so much that we can produce, but a lot of young people, they prefer to wear foreign goods. They prefer Adidas and Nike to the one made locally. Young people should begin to educate themselves and say, now, we are the ones who must invest in our country. Let's patronize made in Nigeria goods. Let's produce made in Nigeria goods. You have to be part of the productive economy if you really want the change that you want. And a lot of the icons that are coming out now, unicorns that are coming, are young people, fintechs. That they're revolutionizing the banking sector. So you are a player. You are no longer somebody who's asking anybody to allow you to do anything. So those are just a few of the comments I took from your very, very, very lucid and comprehensive presentation, Mr. Bayomi. I want to thank you very much for, being one of those who are actually thinking about those reforms, thinking about what we should do. And I hope by interacting with some of us who have been through the mill, who knew that the freedoms you have now, the democracy you have now, was not done by people calling us to come and make the country democratic. It was young people like when we were young who stood up and said, no, we don't want military. We organized ourselves. We fought. Some of us died. You know, blood and sweat and tears went into getting a country where young people like you can speak, can have all the opportunities you have. You know, you are no longer terrorized by the military. I mean, in those days, you cannot even walk when you remember Packwell. That's that news, that song that was, yeah, that was the military. You cannot go anywhere without being stopped by some military and brutalized and killed without anybody even asking any questions. So you have the opportunity now to create the future that you want to do. Take charge of it. Don't moan and lament about what the older people are doing. You are the ones who you have the numbers, you have the capacity, you have the intellect, you have the energy. You can do it, and we're right behind you. Thank you so much for doing what you are doing. Don't stop. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. Over to you, Professor Grange.
Hello. Now, I think what I should just do is to say I concur with my current sister. Madam Yemis, and you said them in with such a wonderful tone, and I'm sure that the youth will be blessed. The ones that you are mentoring right now, I'm sure they are very much blessed. Oh, I'll just add one other thing. MEC has mentioned that there is no volunteerism. I believe that without that, you cannot really move forward. When we were growing up, we joined the Girl Guides, Red Cross. Pastor Sonny has told you about YMCA, and all those institutions taught us not to think about money, but to think of giving back to the community. First of all, developing ourselves to help us give back to the community. Nowadays, it doesn't seem to be what the young people want to do. Let's take, for instance, the National Youth Service Corps. I keep referring to it because I think it has lost its, its way, hasn't it? It was meant to train the youth so that they would be able to give back to the community. But somehow something is not right with it. And this is where I think that even the youth should be questioning it. You should try and find out how it can be resuscitated or done away with, or something has to take place. Right now, it seems to me that it's creating more opportunities for corruption. Correct me if I'm wrong. But that National Youth Service Corps was supposed to be an institution that will bring the youth into service, to serve, and not to, not to count the cost. Of course, they are giving a little bit of money for various things, for basics and all that. It's not enough now, but, quite frankly, it's because the youth who have gone through that service corps, have not come together to say, look, what is this about? Can we not revamp it and see how it can help the country? This is how the developed countries developed. I still remember when they were sending from America, from Europe and all that, they were sending their youths to developing countries to come and help and to learn. Auntie Yemisi, remind me of what they were called now. I've forgotten.
Peace Corps.
Peace Corps. Peace Corps. Yes, Peace Corps. Yeah, some of them, of course, became like CIA and all that, but they, they helped to generate some kind of enthusiasm in our youth, and to pass on the values of service. So anyway, that is what I just wanted to add to it. The second thing is, there is no spirit of collaboration among our youth. Most times when they are doing things, they just want to do it by themselves. That will not work. If you come together and work together, you will achieve, much more. What is that adage that says that if you want to move fast, walk alone. You want to move best or something, go with somebody. So anyway, these are the two areas which I wanted to address: volunteerism and collaboration. All the other areas that Auntie Yemisi has talked about are very, very essential. And she has the experience. She's already at the grassroots there, at the local government, mentoring and not just mentoring, but monitoring what is happening there and helping people to take advantage of what is available. This is the type of thing that should be going on in every local government. We don't know, Auntie Amy said, how it can be scaled up. If you can find a way of scaling this up, it will help a great deal. But I want to thank the organizers. I want to thank the presenter for a very wonderful presentation. As Auntie Yemisi has said, the ball is still in your court. You cannot pass it on to the present government and say, look, they are not allowing you. Nobody will allow you. You have to seize the opportunity. And I keep, I will just end with the allegory of the relay race, where you have to pass the baton on. Yes, if somebody does not pass the baton on to you, it's going to be very difficult for you to move forward and to win. And that is why, as a team, you come together and find out who is going to be able to pass the baton without dropping the baton. Okay. So that is my own contribution today. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you
Thanks.
very much, ma. I have some questions, but before I go into my question, I would like to bring I noticed Mr. Said Adele is on the call. He was part of our program last month, so I would like him to share a few words with us.
Oh, well, good afternoon to you all. Thank you, Joshua. I did join the call a bit late, so I'm just trying to catch up. But with all that I've heard so far, I mean, what can I say? Beyond what our big aunties have already said, we need to learn and continue to utilize not just their past experiences, but also leverage on their historic knowledge. In my opinion, from the youth's point of view, strategically, we need to leverage on their network for us to be able to get a lot done. Like I said, I missed the presentation, but off the top of my head, a few things that's popping up is, why didn't we have the guest speaker also really bring in his flock of network, so to say, to this platform to actually drive the numbers. I'm curious to see what happened. Beyond that, I try to speak more to drive the diaspora engagement and conversation back home. So it's also to see what projects is he or are they currently working on, that actually can be presented to the diaspora young adult population in order to begin to also leverage on that collaborative effort. And lastly is, from my short few years of experience, there is always that part of, yes, the youths, have a responsibility, but we also must be intentional to actually ham them to be able to take on the obvious giants in the room, which is again the older citizens who basically have the privilege of political offices that are really not listening and not willing to actually yield to the youths. What is one of the ways we are leveraging the diaspora community to change that narrative, because it's not different from the diaspora leadership as well. One of the things that we are doing is to actually utilize the platform of representation. By representation, I mean the media, and also to change the narrative. So I'm curious to find out, is there any plan to at least begin to help to change the narrative and the image of Nigeria, regardless of what our current reality is? But there must just be a strong alliance of a few youths who are determined to change the image of Nigeria, either by amplifying the good side of it, and continue to use that as a way to woo in more interest, and of course, take on the correctiveness that obviously will come down the line. So those are just my few thoughts, and I hope he's still on, and if he could also respond to some of those questions. Thank you. Thank you, Joshua. Appreciate you.
Thank you very much. I hope our speaker is still on the call to address these questions from Mr. Adele. Okay, so my question for Professor Green, she said something about volunteering. Yeah, I am someone that volunteers a lot. I volunteer for different organizations, and getting volunteers, youth volunteers, is difficult because when I engage with these youths, my colleagues, and I say, okay, so come on, there's this course I want us to do. There's always an excuse, and when the excuse they are giving is more of like going after their daily bread, because they don't really have the, how do I put it, they don't have that time to them to be doing things that will not bring in money for them to sustain themselves and for them to have like a future in sight for themselves. So how do someone like me, how do I speak to these colleagues? How do I encourage them that, okay, it's not just all about pursuing, because when there is good in the community, when there is good in the nation, it also benefits you. So how do I put my message across to them as regards reviving the spirit of volunteerism?
Are you asking Professor Grange?
Yes, Professor Ganji.
Okay, unmute her. Can you unmute her?
Permit me to pass it on to Auntie Yemisi.
I was going to wait for the pearls that would drop from your mouth. Okay.
I don't even know that Professor Grange is going to be passing it to you, because I literally have a question for you and say, so I don't know if I should just ask and go ahead,
Yes,
please.
please ask so I can join the two.
Okay, it is about this. Actually, it was Professor Grange who mentioned NYSC, and the NYSC actually it has lost its value. We no longer have the satisfaction that we need to have, and I think the economic situation too. When we demand, there are some policies that we need to demand answers. Like we need to just tell them that, why are you making these policies when you are making the implementation difficult for us? And about us having this NYSC, going to school and everything, having the skills. But everything is about connection. Like I wanted to say, I serve in National Assembly. I always say this. But I have to come back to my community to find my peace of mind, because there are things that I'm a lady, there are things that I will not do to get some things done. So there are youths who are available, who are equipped, but then the platforms are not available for them to show themselves. So it is not that we are not, some of us are not ready. We are ready, but we're not getting the needed platform and the resources to show that, okay, we are not having the access, the connection needed to show them that really want to do things. So how do we just go about this? Then how do we make it known? How do we raise our voices to echo these things to the government, or people who can be our channels to the government? Thank you, ma'am.
Right, volunteering and access to resources. Well, for volunteering, I think a lot of young people may come from environments where that kind of mindset is not encouraged. We come from backgrounds where we were encouraged to volunteer. And in our days, we had the Girl Guides, we had the Brownies, you had the Boy Scouts, and the schools. In the schools, you had to join one thing or the other, and the schools were always arranging activities for you to go and do in the communities. The same argument you have made, Joshua, about young people only wanting to do things if there's a benefit for them, is the same thing my youth managers say about a lot of the young people around them. But you don't give up, because you find there will always be a few public spirited individuals, those who you can connect with either through your social activities or your business activities or your religious activities, whatever kind of activities you have. You always find young people who are interested in maybe discussing issues, and you always start with things, low-hanging fruits, things that would be beneficial to them as well. Maybe it's a sporting activity. As long as you begin to have this group of people who are interacting, the other areas of social consciousness, the areas of learning about the various global or local issues, you start a topic around. If there's something that is affecting your community, start a conversation around it, and then you find that answers will begin to come, because a lot of people, as you said, they're focused on survival. Which time do I have to volunteer for something? Even the hours of the day that I have is not enough to make enough money to live. So you have to be creative about the kind of groups or activities, or and then, as much as possible, what I do is I always involve the government. This is the job of government, to do all these things that we want to do as civil society. So don't give them the pass to say, okay, we can't solve everything and we can't solve much. It's the government's responsibility to solve all these problems. So if we are taking some little areas here and there, we have to be able to involve them. And my experience has been that there are always change agents within government. There are always people who want to do things differently. The whole bally lot of them cannot be, relegated to corrupt people or incompetent people or whatever it is we call them. There are a number of, political or public office holders who really want to do something, and they are looking for people like you that will work with them so that they can pass information to you, the things that they cannot do because they are restricted by bureaucracies and whatever general orders or whatever they have to follow. They can't do it. So they see CSOs who are also interested in having the patience, because you have to have patience. It's not something that you just started and within 1 year, 2 years, everything is solved. No, you have to know that this is a long haul issue. And you have to have the patience, find the change agents amongst government, make sure you are working with them, and then build that ecosystem around the issue you are trying to address. And then bit by bit, we begin to build that the capital around those who would volunteer, those who are begin to think in ways of also contributing to national development. So that's for the volunteerism. For the NYSC and those who graduate, and I think I said earlier that the days of looking for job from government is gone. It's gone, gone, gone. Maybe a few people, like you say, if your uncle is there or auntie is there or you have some connection, maybe you get something. But the young people of today have to see themselves as entrepreneurs. You have to acquire entrepreneurial skills, and it's a different skill set to going to job from 9 to 5 and collecting salary. You're going to be wealthier at the end of the day, but it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of commitment, and it's a lot of, discipline. You have to have the discipline, you have to have the skills which you are going to acquire yourself and not wait for government to give you. And even when government gives, that's another thing I have found. There are a lot of government programs, but a lot of young people don't apply. In Lagos, we have the Lagos State Trust Fund, Employment Trust Fund. They're undersubscribed. They keep shouting, come and take the money. The young people don't go for it. They don't. So young people also have to find this information. They have to look at, if it's not online, there must be somebody who can tell you, find the information one way or the other. You may not be able to succeed in qualifying, so you don't put all your eggs in one basket in qualifying for whatever the government grant is. But as much as possible, continue to upskill and upskill and upskill. It is the kind of skills you bring to the table that's going to make the difference. If you are the best fashion designer in your community, you will make money. No way, no how. If you are the best shoemaker, no way, no how, you make money. If you are the best plumber, everybody will be looking for your services. Look for those jobs that everybody must have. Not everybody will maybe use a lawyer in their lifetime. Some people may not ever even use a doctor. There are activities that we all participate in that is needed by everybody. Food, electricity, mechanic. In fact, the whole morning today, I was spending with a group of entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs, who are looking for where are the opportunities for them to better engage and contribute both to their personal lives and to nation building. And that is the advice I will give everybody. You have to be the one that is the driver of your destiny. You have to be the one who says, right, I want to be this. And okay, what do I need to do to get there? What are the skills? What are the planning templates I must have? I must have a business plan. I must have a marketing plan. I must have a communication plan. Those tools are things that nobody's going to come and give it to you wherever you are. You have to look for it. And there's so much online now. There's so many training outlets. A lot of them are free that you can make use of. So your time must be managed productively. Spending time asking other people or other entities to come and solve the problem is not going to happen. That is why you have been given the brain. The brain you have is is the same that Elon Musk has. The brain you have is the same brain that Bill Gates has. God is a Democrat. Everybody has a brain. And it's how you use it. It's how open-minded you are, how much hard work you have to put into it. The people who are successful will tell you it's a 24/7. It's 24. When you want to, build something, at the beginning, you have to devote 110% of your energies towards it. And it will mean sleepless nights. It will mean deprivation. So if you want to live a life where you are still, enjoying, and, keeping up with the Joneses, you want to buy this, you want to go shopping like your friend, you want to have as many clothes as other people, that one has to go out the window if you want to be a successful entrepreneur. and unless you inherit money from somebody. And even those who inherit money will tell you to keep that money, they have to work, 100% to get the skills to be able to manage that money effectively. Otherwise, to ask me where all the billionaires of Nigeria, because people left money in Nigeria too. There are many rich people who left money for their children. Where are they? Even if you inherit, you still have to acquire skills to manage, to be an entrepreneur with that money, to be a wealth builder with that money. So everybody has to go through those cycles. That's what I can only tell you, that with the NYSC, the purpose, I think, at the beginning was to create a platform for national unity. So it was not to create entrepreneurs as such. It was to create a platform where you will be posted to Sokoto where you come from, Lagos. And so you will have an experience of Nigeria. And it was supposed to build a new generation of Nigerians who are thinking of themselves as Nigerians, who are just as familiar with living in Gombe as they would be living in Imo State. So those are the benefits of the NYSC. What you guys who go through the system do with it after you leave is up to you. And whether you wasted that year, doing other things than planning the next steps. You have to plan the next steps. It's a bridge to you being the leaders of tomorrow. So again, the buck stops with you. And my final comment is Mr. Adele is talking about telling our stories. Definitely, I want to see more of that. I want to have young people. There's so many fantastic things happening in this country. The energies, the young people who are also creating, who are also going against the odds. I just met a young lady now who's just been invited to Paris. She started with a program that the Netherlands does called Orange Corners. They look for entrepreneurs. There's so many programs like that. We also train mentees with the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. So she applied for it. She got the training. What she will be trained is how to be an entrepreneur. She has been making fantastic Nigerian products, clothes, jewelry, bags, shoes. I bought from her. I've introduced her to friends. There's another one called Africana something. What's her name? So if you see the designs she's making, fantastic. She's just the Coco. She calls herself Coco Africa. This the first one I talked about. She's just been invited to Paris to do a demonstration. So the opportunities are way out there. So many. And I want you young
Thank
people
you
to
very much, Ma.
the lamentation platform. Look at the things that are blossoming. They're just, coming into limelight, and tell those stories. You are champions. You are winners. So you tell your story
Yes,
as
Ma.
winners, not just the problems. Every country has problems, even the most developed. They all have, but they don't tell those stories. They tell you the stories of their champions. So let's do more of that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you very much, Ma, for that. I will bring in Miss Jumoke Akutelo. And is up. And
Yes.
also we need to wrap up because I think we have spent almost 2 hours on this call, about 1 hour 45 minutes. So Ma,
Mine
you
is
can go
very
ahead.
short. It's very short. I want to thank the big aunties and mommies and everyone that has spoken and for the continued support. I also want to challenge from moving from us talking to action. And the ALG youth can actually adopt a pilot project. There are a lot of schools, giving back to the younger generation, there are a lot of schools that are not functioning. Children are sitting on the floor, the roofs are gone, the conditions in schools are deplorable. We can even start with adopt a school, go clean it up, come up with bricklaying, go patch up some areas, build toilets, do something that also encourages the up and coming generation to be able to give back because they have received. And you find out that you start from somewhere. You start with that action, involve the older generation, involve organization, and one school becomes 2 schools, become 10 schools. That's also one way to sustain this national development, because education is everything. I'm really worried about the next generation. We got a lot from Nigeria, our educational system, that you guys don't have. The kind of opportunity we got from the Nigerian education system, your generation doesn't have it, and the coming generation is not going to have it. So we can do something by adopting those kind of little projects. Thank you. Thank you, Joshua. I'm done.
Okay, so Mr. Adele, I see your hand is up. I don't know if you can just use 1 minute because of the time. We are wrapping up now.
Yeah, Joshua. Well, I was just going to request. I would definitely love to connect with you. On the back end. I know one of your questions had been how to get youths to volunteer more and to also stay motivated and committed to volunteering. I would want to work with you on that strategically to see how we can start pushing that forward. Okay.
Okay, I'll reach out to Madam Jumoke to get your contact.
Sure. Sure. Thanks again.
Thank you very much. So Adibanke, just give us a brief overview of ALG Real Advocates, and then we can close the program.
Thank you, everyone. Really appreciate your presence. So the Real Advocates, we are the youth wing of ALG. So I'm quickly going to run through our overview. So our Real Advocates is a dynamic youth wing of the Africa Leadership Group, driven by the principle of responsible, ethical, accountable leadership. Our mission is to champion transformational leadership and inspire positive change within Nigeria. Passionate about our nation's potential, we are committed to becoming the leaders we aspire to see. Addressing the critical leadership challenges that have hindered progress in our country. As a youth advocate for change, our focus is on making a lasting impact on our immediate environment and the broader community. We believe that true leadership begins with personal growth, accountability, and a commitment to ethical values. By fostering these qualities in ourselves, we aim to serve as role models for others and catalyze a ripple effect of positive change. To deepen our knowledge and strengthen our resolve, we hold monthly sessions known as Real Advocates Dialogue, like the one we are having now. This meeting serves as a platform for open discussions, knowledge sharing, and collaboration among like-minded people and the youth as well, who share our vision for a better Nigeria. Through this dialogue, we aim to nurture a network of empowered youth leaders dedicated to creating meaningful progress. Real Advocate is more than a movement. It's a commitment to leadership excellence and community transformation. Together, we believe we can build a future where responsible leadership drives sustainable development and uplifts our nation. Thank you, everyone. Over to you, Joshua.
Thank you very much, Adibanke. I really appreciate everyone's contribution here today. I appreciate our speaker, the ALG executives, for giving us this platform to have a discussion and to better ourselves and know, okay, what are the ways we can have impact in our various society. It's really an honor to be engaging with the experienced minds of our society. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming and anticipate the December edition. God bless everyone. Have a lovely evening.
God bless you. I'll send you the YouTube link so that you guys can share it. I think with this needs more youths need to be involved in this discussion.
Well
You
done.
very-
Congratulations.
Thank you
Well
all.
done.
Joshua,
Well done
well
again.
done.
God bless you. Thank you, Auntie. Thank you, Mommy. Thank you, Uncles,
Well
and
done,
all
well
of
done,
you.
my dear. Well done.
Bye.
Well done indeed. Well done indeed.
God bless.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.